Though Dick Van Dyke as Bert in Mary Poppins was a staple of my childhood and teenagehood and adulthood, it occurred to me that I don't or didn't actually know that much about his life or indeed his career. So I decided to read My Lucky Life, which is Dick Van Dyke's autobiography, and I have to say, it's pretty delightful. And if you're anything like me and don't really know that much about his career, it's a pretty good place to start. A lot of it focuses on how he got into show business, the Dick Van Dyke Show, which was an interesting read because I've never seen the Dick Van Dyke Show, and a lot of it is about the Dick Van Dyke Show. But I found it easy enough to follow without having any other point of reference. He speaks so wonderfully about Carl Reiner as well, which is really nice to read. And then, of course, we have information about Mary Poppins and Bye Bye Birdie and his career thereafter. And it's a really easy read. It's a really pleasant read. That's not to say there aren't moments that are quite gripping or compelling, but unlike the average autobiography, which is quite dark and, full of secrets, this one's a little bit lighter, but in a way that's a really pleasant read. It's also very surprising. If you don't know how he got into dancing or what his background as a dancer is, I won't reveal that information, but what I will say is that it really surprised me, and it just goes to show how incredible his talent is. Step in Time is still one of the most amazing performances I've ever seen. Mary Poppins is just an absolute delight. I will say, as a Mary Poppins fan, those chapters really appealed to me. It's not the biggest autobiography, but it's got a decent amount of information in it still, and some rather adorable pictures. I won't spoil them all, but just as a little peek. Yeah, very, very cute. So I do feel a lot more informed. I feel I know Dick Van Dyke as a person and as an actor a lot more than I did. There were a couple of films and things in here mentioned that I hadn't seen that I'm now curious to go on and see, so I probably will have a look out for those. It's also got a really nice design to it, and for anybody who's interested, that's the back of the book. And I can't remember when this was published. I think it was the beginning of the 20th century, the 21st century. It was quite a while ago. Actually, this particular one was in 2016. So not as long ago as I believed, originally 2011. So not tremendously long ago, but it's not the most up to date. But nevertheless, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun reading it. I learned a lot about Dick Van Dyke, but also a lot about show business over the last few decades. And if you are a fan of Dick Van Dyke, I absolutely recommend it.